Student Game Report with the man, Kyle effing Nash. Kyle, football's back, baby.
Football! Hey, listen.
Ah!
Glad to be aboard. Glad to be in the place. Glad we're doing video pods again here on the Football is Awesome by way of the ESN, right? Is it
Ernst
still
Bacon Podcast? Yes, sir.
ESP? Sorry, I should have read your mind. See what I did there. But listen, I get all these years you've been sitting in the security van. Now you feel comfortable doing video again, and I can see the cityscape. You have a window in your van now. That must be nice.
Yeah, I can see the world now. Anyway,
maybe it's a tinted window so they can't see in. That's what I'm betting.
I'm actually hold on. I'm actually right as we speak trying to put the banner up now, real quick.
While you're doing
fancy.
That,
there we go.
Say, ooh.
Oh wait, hold on. Man, a little mistake there, real quick. Hold on, 1 second. It's okay. It's a little inside baseball for our friends here.
While you're working that out, I do love how this angle gets the Aaron Evans original painting of me in my semi-pro days. Very, very well captured. You got the Terminator eyes in there and everything.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get to NFL. Obviously, it's week 1. We're leaning into the NFL. We're 2 days away from the first game of the year. But we're actually already 2 weeks into the college football season. Well, 1 week.
If you count week 0, am I right?
Yeah, we still count that week 0 thing. I don't. Whatever.
I know that Nebraska front office is.
Yep. Scott Frost, are you listening? But let's start here first. College football, and I'll keep it simple because only 1 weekend, some odd games. Takeaways for you. What did you learn this weekend? What stood out for you in college football? Because it was kind of a wacky weekend, to some degree.
That Utah is only good to make fun of the movie My Cousin Vinny.
Yep.
That Georgia, wow. Credit to that program for retooling. And not rebuilding, folks, retooling for everything they lost. I mean, granted, it is the Pac-12. I'm always skeptical of Oregon a little bit, but I didn't expect that waxing. And anybody who says they did is either a fan or they're just lying.
Wait a second. Hold up, podcast last week.
I
was young. No, not I didn't. Wait, Kyle. No, I didn't say 49-3. I did say though they're covering the spread.
Yeah, but that's not the same as what we saw.
That's what I'm saying.
It's covering their spread, and then there's beating up an 8th grader in a wheelchair. Do you catch my meaning?
Let me have my moment. Damn it.
Well, no. You can have your moment. I just don't want you to alter what I'm saying. Yeah. No. You did listen. You did call the over. And to your credit, I was close to doing it, but I had too much faith in humanity. It's a mistake I make sometimes. And then,
Georgia's.
Let's see. Very unimpressed by Notre Dame again.
I disagree there. I think Notre Dame that's actually a good loss.
The quality loss. P.S. Stop it.
You're not with that, aren't you?
No, I'm not. You got beat like that by a team that's obviously still trying to get right for their season in week 1. And I think that's a lot of what we saw too, by the way, for my money. Oh, go ahead.
I think a lot of it for me is that the quality of Ohio State more than anything else. I think Ohio State is going to be. We said on the podcast. I think they're going to win the national title this year. So I'm looking at Ohio State as the best team in college football.
Did we both say that, or did I call? No, I called Alabama. But
we had the same. We had the same game. We different winner though.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, in this era of college football, anyway, we're both still going chalk per se.
Yeah.
But I mean. I'm bringing up Notre Dame specifically to say that they weren't as bad as I thought they were. They definitely competed more than I thought. I'll give them that much credit. But, and the ACC is still a joke. I think we're pretty clear on that. And I know FSU fan that you want to get excited for your last-minute heroics. But, by the way, you both as an FSU and Notre Dame fan, which I still don't know how the hell that works.
I told you how this works, buddy.
You need to recognize that was more about bad blocking on a fundamental level. You always cover the inside first than it was anything Brian Kelly did wrong. And you Notre Dame fans suddenly turning on the only coach to get you 4 10-win seasons in your program's vaunted history is just kind of disgusting.
That's a statement towards a certain friend of ours that
no, it's you Notre Dame fan that I'm talking to.
No, I'm over that. That was last week. That's only a 1 week thing.
What did you say, Notre Dame fan?
We're doing this now, aren't we? We really are doing this, Notre Dame now. Add it to the
I tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Add it to the docket now, apparently. Oh, Lord. I do think Florida State, though, look, I already told you I was not looking forward to the year. I think they might be better than I thought they were going to be this year.
And let's give them a little credit, EJ, right? They're an injury to a starting guard in overtime away from beating Brian Kelly as a coach of Notre Dame last year. So, I mean, people who want to crap all over Mike Norvell is ridiculous. I always thought he was a good coach. I thought he was kind of the victim of circumstance with playing a UCF team in the American that was on the rise. There's a reason why he lost 2 conference championships to them. Mm-hmm. And a number of close regular seasons games, by the way. One of them, of course, being the national championship year. The one after that being where they were still undefeated in the regular season. And, excuse me, and then, going on to lose to the Ed Orgeron and Joe Burrow.
Your boy, Ed Orgeron.
My boy. That's right. It's my boy. No, but yeah, I mean, the year before they had the best statistical offense in college football history. Right. And, as much as people want to get on Orgeron's case, the truth of the matter is retooling after that, even for Brian Kelly, is difficult. Though for a guy who was complaining about recruiting limitations, I have to admit it's a fair question to ask on, what might have been the issue getting done right again in LSU. But hey, it's a competitive thing to be in the SEC. And, let's put it this way. The expanded playoff will be very interesting on that front.
That's a great segue because it doesn't touch on there now. Actually, expanded playoffs now they approved it. You're good at this, man. Is it improved now for 2026? Although is a possibility it could go earlier. That's what we're hearing, right? Possibility.
And a matter of things going earlier is if somebody comes up with some dream scenario, or it's kind of an advertisement to people out there. Hey, if you want this on your network sooner, come pay us lots and lots of money and break these contracts, right?
Yeah,
that's basically what that's allowing for.
Okay.
In my opinion, among other things that are factors, it's always good to UPod in these situations, just because the behind the scenes and administration through contracts with programs and conferences and networks for TV and internet and all this other broadcasting guff is incredibly difficult, right? There's a reason why the teams that are moving from the American to the Big 12 and also Texas and Oklahoma are jumping through so many hoops, and the date for those movements have slid all over. Imagine it being on a nationwide scale over and above those, larger regions, right?
Right.
So I think 26 is real. I think that's a good target. I think that gives them time to look over all the stuff they need to look over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
6 conference champs, 6 at-larges.
Right. So the football fan in me hates guaranteed spots in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The Sun Belt is a waste of my time. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out there. Being said, I do see the advantages as well, right? Because while they're selling the public in general with the expanded playoff is that it's a rising tide for the up and coming teams that aren't in the power position, but whether it be a power 2 or power 5, right? With the direction the college football is going.
Right.
It's an opportunity for them to get more involved. As an example, right? UCF, who I cover for the Black and Gold Banneret, and who's covered by Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel, who will be on this week's edition of the Student of the Game podcast.
Nice.
We both have observed UCF being that up and coming team since 2017 personally, and then they've been working, beyond, going back to 2013 when they beat Baylor in the Fiesta Bowl. Then those programs that are up and coming like that, your Houstons, your BYUs, your SMUs, teams that have quarterbacks as magical as Tanner Mordecai that no one's talking about simply because he's in the American, who in its current makeup is better than the ACC. But that all goes away when they have 3 teams leaving the conference for the Big 12. Here nor there. The opportunity presented for those up and coming programs, whether it be the Sun Belt or the American or Conference USA or whoever it is, getting that opportunity to get a look and eyes nationwide is not only good for the money, where they can build up their resources to continue the climb, not only for themselves, but for their conference, right? It's also a matter of getting that recruiting out there to show credibility of these smaller programs. Hey, listen, excuse me, maybe you're a talented football player who lives in a particular place that thinks the only way they can get a shot at the next level is going to an Alabama. But hey, maybe there's a school right in my backyard where I could stay at home, go to school, and still have NFL aspirations, that kind of thing. But the other side to that coin, EJ, is you, like me, understand that the SEC is the best college football money can buy. It has,
of course.
and has been for some time. It's just now a bit more legal with the NIL. Regardless of what Nick Saban wants to tell you and going after fellow conference schools and his commercial made in Aflac broadcasts and all that other stuff. Punchline's this. For those that are worried that it's just an opportunity for more SEC teams to get in, don't say that like it's necessarily a bad thing. Does that take away opportunities for other, air quotes, smaller schools, up and coming schools to get in? That can be argued as far as the actual playoff spot. But EJ, the upside of the guaranteed conference winner, right? If you're one of the top 6 ranked conference winners, you're guaranteed that spot, whether it's a play-in, so to speak, or not. You're hosting.
Catch up. Here we go. There we go. Keep going.
Okay. So yeah.
The video just kind of paused like 5 seconds. And go ahead.
Welcome to Life on Spectrum. Anyways, no. But, so and I could be wrong that that's the case, but let's say that it is. If they're hosting a game and having a big program come to town, that's not only good for them locally. You get that TV exposure. It's guaranteed not only to give those up and coming programs exposure, but speaking of exposure, Ernest Christian, it's an opportunity to get those games like the Sugar Bowl, or excuse me, not the Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, where UCF beat Auburn to get the national championship. The opportunity that Cincinnati has had in Big 12 bowls and CFP bowls. Though they lost the game, they were given that exposure and that opportunity to possibly beat an SEC team, right? Georgia 1 year, and of course facing Alabama last year in the college football playoff. And not just that, but let's say we move to Big 2, EJ, and now the Big 12's at risk trying to get in to get playoff spots. These guarantees assure that they get in there. Now, granted, a life with the best mullet in America in the form of Mike Gundy appearing with Oklahoma State is always going to uplift me, but that has nothing to do with football. I mean, I'm a man, I'm over 40. But
I'm a man.
I think
we need him.
I think the situation is like, while more of those SEC teams and those bigger teams that are getting locked out because they're beating each other up, more of them will get in. I think it's a situation where that rising tide will lift all the ships, especially considering you have that required booking for conference leaders. That is the upside business-wise. Football-wise, I don't care about the Sun Belt, but hey, I'll watch it on TV for at least the first quarter until they get bashed, right?
Can I argue the realignment also too that's happening with the Pac-12 going to like some teams going to Big 10, and could actually make it more competitive too? Also, I guess.
Well, in a manner of speaking, yeah, right. I mean, listen, the college football has needed a reboot for a while, EJ, right? Even before the dawn of the Football is Awesome podcast, when it was just Earnestly Speaking or Op Nation, even maybe going back.
Oh Lord, 2.0, 2.4.
Here's a little history for you, ladies and gentlemen. But
yes.
The punchline's this: we've been griping, or at least I have, that the ACC has been too weak for years, that the Pac-12 is a joke for years. And now, finally, we're getting that nationwide market correction that hasn't happened. And I mean, I don't mean like business market, I mean football market, that hasn't happened in years because of the way contracts were written, right? You have the exclusive rights thing going on in the ACC where, somehow Notre Dame managed to dance around that and keep out of football. A whole other question. But you have those, basically it was the contracts that prevented it. Some of these are going up. Some of these have just been flat ignored, and there's been payment to escape things, for lack of a better way to put it. And while I made a joke with Hall of Fame inductee Tony Baselli about how if his Trojans can play in the Big Ten, the NFL can expand to any part of the world, right?
Right.
So I made that joke with him to say it's a new world, and I think you'll see an amalgam of teams that we haven't before. Hey, Pac-12 teams, former Pac-12 teams like USC that are now recruiting in a base that has a ton of beef in the Big 12 pool, so to speak.
And you love beef.
I do. Look behind me. And with the skill player base that they're already recruiting in the Southern California area, That's the kind of stuff that brings rise to programs. As much as you, a Notre Dame fan, would hate the Trojans to come back to power, it would make for a good football product.
All right, let's get to the NFL. Obviously, we have a long year ahead for college football, so we'll obviously hitting those narratives as we go through the year. But I'm excited about this season. All right, first things first. Russell Wilson, our favorite quarterback in the world.
Russell Carrington
Wilson. Got a new contract. The Broncos. 5 years, $225 million. Your thoughts?
I mean, listen, I haven't looked at the contract in earnest yet to see how much is guaranteed or not.
I saw you there. I saw.
The I don't know how much money is guaranteed in it per se. I haven't done that homework yet.
Looking right now.
Do the 200 and butt ton million that it's
$165 million guaranteed.
So it's about half-ish, maybe a little bit more. But the punchline's this. The thing that's a little unnerving for a lot of people, me included, is that you're a couple of years away from it being a $55 million cap hit. Here's the thing. That is a dangerous specter. We can have a conversation about Rusty being a drain on the salary cap. This is how he got to where he got to with the Seahawks in the first place, on and on and on and on. Should he have modeled his deal closer to maybe Patrick Mahomes II? I think so. But I say all of the above to say this is the life of if you want a quarterback of that caliber. All right. And we've had this conversation before. It's just gotten more relevant, I guess.
And the thing with Denver, I think they know, you had John Elway for a long time, right?
Right.
And then they went through a nice, decade or more of the Brian Greaseys and Jake Plumbers and this and that, and then you get Peyton Manning for a couple of years.
Plumber won playoff games. Let's be clear about that.
No, right. But again, let's talk about caliber here now. They weren't caliber Russell Wilson, caliber John Elway.
Right.
Then you get Peyton Manning for a couple of years, and then he's go away, and then you have the Trevor Siemians and so when you identify a quarterback being a top 10, possibly top 5 guy in the league, and you have him, you keep him, you lock him up, and ask questions later. I get it.
Yeah, I like how you made the connection. Like historically, they've always performed pretty well, but let's be honest, when they've done the best, it's been with the iconic quarterback. That is the belief and way of life in Denver, right? You mentioned already Elway and Manning. Sure, no doubt there. Rusty is of that ilk. I think, though I was critical of him as a Ute, he developed into somebody who I think is certainly Hall of Fame worthy. I'm not ready to say first ballot yet because a lot of the committee holds stuff against players that aren't the players' fault. Like,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Being part of a coaching staff that made the worst offensive on Super Bowl history, for example, the refusal to protect him after they got rid of Max Unger at center, all of that kind of stuff. That's not the player's fault.
You got receipts, buddy. You got receipts, buddy.
Hey,
love it.
The fact that he doesn't have, if he had the 2 MVPs that I said he should have earned in 17 and 19, then he would be first ballot. And I don't think you'd argue with that, Ernest Christian.
No, I'm with you on that one. So what else there? Lamar Jackson battle with the Ravens for new contract continues. Last report we saw yesterday was that the Ravens upped their offer. Mm-hmm. The rumor is that Lamar Jackson has a cutoff here where if they don't have a deal by week 1, which is Sunday, of course, that the talks are off. First things first, Kyle, is Lamar making a mistake here by even risking playing without a new contract?
No, because it's not real. This isn't real. Drew Brees says, I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson is negotiated to this point just in such a fashion as I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. When I will be shocked when this becomes newsworthy is when the Ravens don't sign him.
So basically, what you're saying, it's going to happen. Because I agree it's going to happen before Sunday.
This is all posturing. Now, granted, is he doing it in an unorthodox fashion? Of course. He's representing himself. But I think Lamar Jackson, like Richard Sherman most recently is another high-profile name who did this, I think Lamar Jackson representing himself makes sense because depending on what agents he worked with, they may have just been too busy negotiating with him as the establishment would have. Whereas Lamar Jackson is still scary to people in his game and playing style. Now, granted, and I've made this point before with mixed reviews, but I still think it holds accurate. What's tough about Lamar Jackson is not his play, obviously. Anybody who thinks he's an inaccurate passer is a raging moron. He's 62%. Shut up, end of story. Oh, he doesn't perform in the playoffs. Dude threw for damn near 400 yards and the game wasn't won, and it wasn't his fault. Hashtag I said it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Get him a receiver better than Hollywood Brown. We'll talk. And oh, by the way, they shipped that guy too. This isn't an L-Jack problem. Stop it. Now that we got that out of the way for all the morons who don't know better. Not mentioning
I may clip this part just for people to get their heads examined.
I mean, listen, my ego will certainly allow for you to do so. The punchline is this. The part where L-Jack is truly struggling to negotiate is in the business mind, not in the football mind. And I know people want to make it a social issue. He's a black quarterback, this, that. I'm not saying that's not a factor. It certainly could be. An argument could be made that it is one. I don't even want to go down that path. What I do want to say is this. If it's an issue of color, it's not white or black, it's green. Looking at anybody like this, who's a presence, but is so centralized to your offense's success or failure, right? If I'm throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at this point, right? Because, what is it that Patrick Mahomes II allegedly has a contract worth half a billion dollars, right?
Correct.
That's insane. So if I'm throwing that kind of money at a quarterback and he's one play away, as the saying goes, I'm going to be nervous about throwing that money. I don't care who you are. EJ, you have experience as a blackjack dealer. It's different betting when it's your money and not somebody else's, right? Mm-hmm. Fans are responding how they're supposed to as fans. And I don't even mean the sense that they're fanatics and ignorant. They're arguing football first, not fiscal first. And if you're arguing football first, you sign Lamar Demetrius Jackson. Notice the middle name treatment, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
Kyle.
he's there. We're there ready.
So I say all the above to say we're looking at a situation where they're just trying to make Lamar flinch. And smartly, he's not. They will get there in the 11th hour. If I'm wrong, we'll hear about it on that edition of the Student Report here on Football is Awesome.
And I think you may agree with this also too, because we discussed this last year on this show. His stock went through the roof, especially after the fact that they were 8-3 last year, with all the injuries already contributed to that team. He gets hurt. Now, by the way, when they're 8-3, number one in the AFC at the time, in a competitive AFC for the record, Lamar was the front runner for MVP last year at that point. He gets hurt. They lose every single game after that.
So if this were a political debate, that would be something you would use as a headliner. And if I'm politically debating you, I would thrash you by reminding you that they did pretty well with the backup in the game, and their schedule was significantly harder during the time that Lamar Jackson was out. The argument could be made that L-Jack still would have lost those games, right? So while that's a point, I don't think it's a cogent one. And actually, the fact that he got hurt, in my opinion, worked against him, because that team did not struggle with Lamar Demetrius Jackson missing as much as I would have expected. And let's not forget all the other stuff that was out as far as football assets at the time. Their running back core already decimated, and more. The long list of injuries for the Baltimore Ravens at that time, over and above Lamar Demetrius Jackson. His injury may not have been. The argument could be made, and if you're making it to keep his salary as low as you can, would be made to counter, hey, well, you were hurt and we still did fine. How much do we really need you? Dangerous as that is, I can assure you there's some talk of that in those negotiations.
Well, maybe, but again, so maybe they wouldn't have those games. That means you're a playoff team at that point.
Maybe, but you see, that's again, we're circling around the same point. We can't definitively say one or the other was the cause. But if I'm negotiating for a lower contract for Lamar Demetrius Jackson, that's the line I'm taking.
You use the injury part angle. That's it. You use the health.
You use the injury and the health, not just his, but those around him, right? And we throw all this money at you, and then this happens. Right. Then, we're screwed fiscally because fewer people are going to show up and buy things, which is what we need.
On my angle, like I'm fighting for him, I'm looking at the value Obviously, I'm there. We win.
And again, since the fact I'm utilizing the middle name of Lamar Demetrius Jackson, me arguing against him is not where I actually sit. So nobody can tell me that. I'm talking about Lamar Demetrius Jackson being Lamar Demetrius Jackson because I think he should get the bag.
You know what I love? Before we start this podcast, you said this would be a short. This topic be a short topic. You went longer than we thought.
Well, I mean, listen, that's just a sign of a provocative host wanting hot takes.
Hey, you know how I am. 10 years, Kyle. I texted this morning. 10 years. You don't get me by now? Come on. Anyway, the Steelers announced Mitchell Trubisky would be the QB1.
Yeah. Trubisky or whatever the hell
Trubisky's name is.
I don't see the upside here. I plan to go over this with Mike Jokulich of Pittsburgh Sports News on the pod this week. Maybe he can find you an answer. I don't have it. But here's what I can tell you, and I know it's just the preseason. Fine, whatever. I was in Jacksonville. There were two things I got to do as a unique experience here in preseason. One, I saw Deshaun Watson's first action. Oh, God. And I also saw the first action for not Mitchell Trubisky, but his competition, Kenny Pickett. 15 minutes of the first half, Trubisky and the Steelers offense were struggling against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, which is better than advertised, but certainly not world beating. They're certainly not the 49ers, for example. No offense. Right. But
what a homer.
I don't hear you arguing, Drew. Anyways.
Nor will I.
You can't handle the truth. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Kenny Pickett gets him into the end zone. Again, I know it's one half. I know it's preseason. But at the very least, based on what I've heard from camp, based on what I've seen in the field, which isn't everything, I don't cover the team that closely. That's why I'm having Drax on to discuss that. But at the very least, those quarterbacks are equal. And if it's the quarterbacks are equal, you get the rookie in there and you get him developed. I have a huge ego that even feels stupid arguing with one Mike Tomlin, who has yet to have a losing season in the NFL in his career. I don't think this is the right move. Now, granted, like I said, there may be something out there I don't see. I'm not at practice. I'm not an insider. I'll be talking to Drax for him to help me find what that thing is. But I think starting Trubisky is a flat-out mistake.
If Pickett's ready to go, just throw him in there, man.
I mean, what's the main reason that Trubisky's made the playoffs? His name is Matt Nagy. Bears fans may argue with you, but it's that creative play calling that does it. Trubisky is a game manager who's not trying to throw the ball. What we have seen of Kenny Pickett is that he's a dude who thinks on his feet. There's a reason why he's the player that faked a slide and caused a rule change immediately in college football, right? That's the ability to think on one's feet. That's Peyton Manning-ish. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is Peyton Manning. I'm saying that is a Peyton Manning trait. And if you have a guy that's Peyton Manning-like quarterbacking that Steeler team, even if he's half of what Peyton Manning is, if he's quarterbacking that team, there's a chance for success there. This, I don't know. I still have to process this actually too. I'm about to do my final predictions for the season on Wednesday, and this move might change that because I have the Steelers competing for the playoffs. I'm not going to say if they made it yet or not, but I have the Steelers.
We'll know in a second.
Well, let's just say we need to put an asterisk on it because A, I'm not locked in until Wednesday, and B, this move may change my thinking a bit because I have no confidence in Mitchell Trubisky, no matter what GWSTWLIOG Stelio has to say about it.
Well, I'll text him later on after the show. How excited are you about Baker Mayfield against the Browns this weekend?
This is the most I've cared about a Baker Mayfield game since his career started. Listen, the matchup mania is coming back this season on the 3-point conversion.
Hell yeah.
And this is one of the games. Sure, the football is interesting, and you can read about why I think that's true, but I'm popping the corn for the drama on this one, ladies and gentlemen. How this game goes may not only alter, potentially, depending on how bad or good it is, may not potentially alter just this game and the record for those teams, but the franchise's history or Baker Mayfield's history or somebody's history, ergo down the line. There's a lot riding on this game. We just don't know it yet. And I plan to track back to it depending on how things go moving on.
Should be a fun game. All right, let's do it. Predictions, divisions, wild cards. We'll get into obviously MVPs, all that. Real quick, I guess if you want to rapid fire, just rapid fire this real quick. Bring it real quick. Give me an AFC East prediction. Who wins it?
It's the Bills, and it's not close.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I had the opportunity to talk to wide receiver Gabe Davis of the Buffalo Bills, UCF grad, as he was on the sidelines on this past Thursday night as UCF hosted South Carolina State with the black and gold banneret, of course. And let him know I might be doing a little bit of your show spoiler here, but I whispered to him that I have predicted him to wear a ring this season.
Yeah, I also have them winning the whole thing. All right, AFC North, go.
This one's hard. You can interchange Baltimore or Bengals. I put down Baltimore simply as a creature of habit, but Bengals will be a playoff factor. We'll get into that in a minute.
Absolutely. AFC South.
AFC South. I have the Titans. And listen, most of this, we've had the long conversation of what happens when I believe in Matt Ryan. He lets me down.
Okay, so you want to
go every single time.
Do you want to have this fight we had this morning on text?
This is a better offensive line than he's ever had. This is a better run support than he's ever had. He has the potential to do what Brett Favre did in Minnesota his first year back. Have the single best season of his career statistically over and above MVP silliness. The punchline is this. He left Atlanta so he wouldn't end up having a career losing record. And listen, we saw what the Colts did with Phillip Rivers. They damn near beat the Bills that year in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, no.
That being said, there's certain things on the schedule I don't like. They have the Raiders, for example. A high-powered offense is the death of a team like this.
So let's go inside about real quick. We'll pause this for a little inside baseball. What our text exchange this morning started out with the Titans, and
you do not refer to.
And I bet you said
inside baseball, bitch, please.
Inside baseball.
No,
the Mets in first place.
That's
Shut
a
up.
beanball when you talk.
Anyway, so I've said I've been on record saying the last couple of weeks that the Titans will be taking a major step back. You disagree with that?
Major. That's your problem.
They're winning at least 3 less games in my opinion.
Qualify as major? I'm asking you.
I think it's major. For number one seed to not missing the playoffs, that's a pretty big step back.
Couple things. This year's schedule just a touch harder, in my opinion.
So you got Packers in there, you got Raiders in there,
right?
Even the 50-50 games, and we argued this too because you gave me shit. I said the game in Washington is a 50-50 game.
You're an idiot. I'm not even going to
50-50 game.
Out of your goddamn mind. For one, they'll be bitter at Carson Wentz for costing them a playoff spot. For two, their defense is a lot better than you're giving them credit, and that defense will also be pissed. And
Cowboys game 50-50 as well.
Without Tyron Smith, the Cowboys are trash, and I'll explain that more.
But that game
took them out of contention in the NFC East.
Wait. But that game is also being played in December when Thomas would be back with the team.
And
forget that.
I'm not sure that they'll be back to form in such a fashion. There's a lot of psychology there. And by the way, I don't think Tyron Smith's the only guy that's going to get hurt and cause problems for this team.
Bills on that schedule, Packers on that schedule, Raiders on that schedule. I can see the Jaguars getting a game away from them. I can see Indy taking 1, not 2 games from them. I can see Houston winning the game because they did it last year with a number 1 seed in the AFC.
Right, and then they also counteracted it with a win against the Rams, if I remember correctly. Listen, if you're trying...
In fact, we're making a case. We're doing the reverse thing we did last year with the Titans last year. Remember last year where I was a little bit higher on Titans by default thing, and you were like, no, they're overrated, and we kind of were sort of on the same page. But I was defending them more because the fact that he had some quality wins. And
you couldn't get off the Chiefs for 30 seconds. But listen.
But it's the Chiefs, though. Come on.
It's not so much a condemnation. Sorry, it's not so much of a support of the Titans of I'm just not as confident in Matt Ryan getting that job done and doing what needs to be done. The Jonathan Taylor has to be super successful, which can happen. For that to take place. Likewise, do I have more faith in the Titans defense than I do the Colts? I mean, there's a lot of similarities in this makeup, but while I'll put it this way, the games you pointed out in the Cowboys The Eagles are a tougher matchup than people are giving them credit.
And then the 1-2 on there too as well. Eagles.
You don't hear me arguing that. The Eagles are right on. Get out my face with the Red Tails. Sorry, Commodores. Sorry, Commanders. Get out my face with the Cowboys. I'm just not convinced.
Okay.
I know you're a Cowboys fan and everything, but, I know. Someone has to bring you back down to earth. More appropriate that it's somebody wearing this cap doing it, considering the Cowboys, but I digress.
All right, AFC West, go.
The Chargers, by default. The reason for this is because simply their schedule is just a little bit easier than everybody else's.
All right, give me your 3 wild cards in order if possible.
3 wild cards for the AFC. That would be in this case, the Bengals.
Okay.
Right? Or actually, I can't read my own writing. I'm so sorry. I have to make myself a liar. I have to step back on something. I do have the Bengals winning the AFC North.
So the Ravens are the wild card then.
The Ravens will be your top wild card. Yeah, that's how interchangeable they are. You know. Then I have the Raiders, the Broncos.
Ooh, sexy.
The Chiefs just missed the playoffs.
I can see that
with 10 wins.
I can
the
see that.
Steelers just missed the playoffs with 10 wins.
I can see that. No Dolphins? No?
Get out my face with the damn
I love trolling you. It's best.
It's not just you. Here's the problem. There are other contrarians out there whose names I won't mention that are Dolphins homers in a way they'll just
I got them in the playoffs, so I'm going to tell you now.
Yeah, and you've been wrong before, and you will be again. It's a thing.
I'm always wrong once in a while.
But yeah, right. Once in a while, each day. But while people are talking about the offensive line adjustments they made, it's not enough. And Tua needs that kind of protection. Mm-hmm. It's nice that they have Tyreek Hill. I think they'll make some plays. They will compete. They're not going to get in this year. The schedule's just too tough.
Okay, NFC East, go.
NFC East, Eagles.
All right, NFC North.
Tyron Smith changed my mind. It was going to be close until that happened.
Okay, NFC North.
NFC North, the Packers. However, it'll be on tie breaks. Both they.
I agree.
11 wins.
I agree. I'm the same way as you. Tiebreaker. NFC South.
NFC South. Listen, it's Brady and company. I don't care how many O linemen they got. The only reason it's close is because Jansen's out, Wirtz is out. They lost one guard to retirement, if I understand correctly, and they lost another to the Bengals. So
I think the real conversation here for the Bucs is that they'll win the South. I'm over that.
Yeah.
But I think that number 2 seed is opened up now in the NFC. The Bucs teetering a little bit of O-line issues. It could be an opening for a team to take the number 2 seed in the NFC.
I'll put it this way and give a little bit of a spoiler of the fate of the Bucs. The Bucs will do what Brady has done throughout his career. The moment he doesn't have a playoff game at home, he's done. That's what will happen this year.
Okay. NFC West.
NFC West, listen, by default, it's the Rams, simply because the 49ers are such a mixed bag. I have the Niners at 10, but the Rams, despite their schedule, they just have too much.
The Rams should be a runaway NFC number 1 seed. Should be a runaway. Should be at least 13 wins.
See, I can't do that. That schedule is too ridiculous. The NFC West, where you play those groups twice, I get the Seahawks are give me. And then also the AFC West, bro, that's a tough draw.
We'll see. Okay, your wild cards in order if possible.
Wild cards in order for the NFC.
As you look at Ernest Christian's cheat sheet, go ahead.
Bitch, please. I didn't put the Red Tails on here, okay? Get the hell out of my house. For a minute, I was convinced you were copying Peter King's notes, but then I noticed you didn't have the Saints on there like an idiot.
Yeah, true. We'll get there in a second. I have that on the list of things to talk
about. No. I got the Vikings at the top, the Niners at 10 wins, which could go completely wrong because they will live by Trey Lance. Yeah. I have the Cardinals surprising the world and sneaking in on tie breaks with only 9 wins over the Saints. The reason for that is they will struggle in more AFC contests than NFC contests. And at the end of the day, the tie break will come down to conference record for those 2 teams where the Saints will falter.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think if Arizona can withstand the first 6 games at Hopkins and go at least 3-3, they should be okay.
Well, I predict 3-2. They will start 0-3, but the other night I had Sensei Jeff Barnes of Nuts and Bolts Sports come on and kind of analyze the Cardinals with me. He seems to think they can go 4-2 in those first 6. I don't see that happening.
They think too much. Okay, so let me look up real quick the Peter King thing here that we talked about this morning. Peter King, of course, formerly Sports Illustrated, Monday Morning Quarterback, the whole nine. He had some shocking revelations about his predictions for the both the AFC and NFC. Here's the NFC one right here. Give me one quick second. I'm going back in this list because you posted this morning.
Way to keep it prepared there, EJ. Well done.
Huh?
Way to keep it prepared. Well done.
No, I couldn't. Okay. Here's the AFC one quick. The AFC one, he has number one seed, the Bills. He has the Ravens, that's number 2 seed.
Awesome.
The Chargers, the 3 seed.
Yep.
The Titans, the 4 seed.
That's basically what I got, except I have the Ravens switched.
Right. And then his wild cards are the Chiefs at 5,
Mhm.
Bengals 6, Dolphins 7.
So the only thing, again, if I'm wrong about the Dolphins O-line, he's right, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, where's one from last night? There it is, right there. There we go. His NFC picture is number 1 seed is the Saints, 2 seed is the Packers, 3 seeds the Eagles.
Stop.
Okay.
The number 1 seed is who?
The New Orleans Aints.
Apparently, it ain't because they at the top.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here.
Wins does he have for the Saints of New Orleans?
12 and 5.
Stop it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Sean Payton come back to the team?
That is, I see what you're doing there in this question. Well done.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
no.
What am
Breeze is apparently coming out of retirement. I mean,
what am I missing with the Saints, though? What am I missing? I mean, I don't get it.
Their defense is better than you're giving them credit.
No. That's the only thing I'm giving credit for is the defense, really.
Which is ironic because I know on this podcast, in its many forms over the years, that we used to refer to them as a prom date team, right? Yep. And for reminders of who don't know what that are, for those who don't know what that is, a prom date team is somebody who can score easily and doesn't stop anyone from doing it. Okay, so you expect Jameis Winston to do that? Stop it. Carry on, sir.
All right, so his 2 seeds the Packers, 12 and 5. So Saints Packers same record, but Saints on 1 seed. Eagles a 3 seed, 11 and 6, and then the Rams at 10 and 7 as the 4 seed.
So yeah, I mean, this is the problem. At the top, the NFC is tight. The only place where I disagree with him beyond that horrid Saints pick is I'm 1 win different with the Pack. I'm 1 win different with the Rams. He's got 10. I got the Rams at 11. I mean, that part I'm really close. And this is how tight it is at the top there, EJ Christian. That one game is the difference between elite and above average, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. His wild cards, he has the Vikings.
Which is what I have.
Okay. He has the Vikings.
Does he have 11 wins? Just curious.
11 wins. Yeah. 11 wins.
So that matches me.
Me too. The Bucks at 10 and 7.
Matches me.
Wild card. And then the Niners at 10 and 7.
Matches me.
So you don't have much issue with him other than Saints.
Correct. But the Saints is such a colossal screw up. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I put my list together and saw the Saints being where they were and making the playoffs. And I reevaluated and I'm like, well, okay, here's the problem. And I found the teams that I had them beating at one point. I'm like, well, no, they're not better than this team. And I had to
I don't get it.
The reason why I make that point is I too am used to the Saints being playoff relevant. And I had to remind myself, as you did to our listeners earlier, that Sean Payton didn't come back. But Drew Brees is still retired. It
makes sense. I mean, I know Kamara's fantastic. Obviously, Jameis Winston could.
Kamara's overrated. He should be playing for Andy Reid because he's better at passing or catching passes than running the football. True. And that's not an indictment. This isn't me saying he's a bad player.
All right, and finally, predictions here. Give me who is your AFC champion this year?
Out of the AFC, I think I got what everybody got. I got the Bills.
And your NFC champion is who?
Not the Saints. No. Keeping chalk, but again, as I've explained, it's really tight in that spot. I have no team winning 13 games. I have one team winning 12 in the Bills. There's a lot of 11-win teams. at the top of both conferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I say all that to say I have the Rams as the top seed in the NFC, but they don't necessarily, they could fall out of that just the same. So I have the Rams based on that top seed and hosting some games in LA. They're going to be the conference champion.
So you're saying that basically this Thursday's game is a Super Bowl preview. Okay. And a Super Bowl champion
Bowl could have been, and the Super Bowl yet to be, Ernest Christian. According to Mania, of course, on the 3-point conversion that will drop this week.
Can I agree with you, by the way? Super Bowl champion, of course.
Dub Bills, as I told Gabe Davis on the sideline.
Hashtag Bills Mafia. MVP is here.
MVP, regardless of what they do in the playoffs, he probably won't be my choice personally because he has too much talent around him. If Jalen Hurts does get 11 wins, it probably should be him that should be getting the vote. If the Broncos make the playoffs, like I say, it should be Russell Carrington Wilson getting the vote. But you and I both know the sycophants in the lamestream media will vote Josh Allen.
Okay. Defensive player of the year.
This was tough. But if the Rams go back, I find it nearly impossible to vote against Aaron Charles Donald.
Yes. Offensive player of the year.
This is even tougher. But I think in doing his part, I think he will get more yardage this year than one Derrick Henry. Because I think more teams are going to dare Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball than they will Matt Ryan. I have Jonathan Taylor, offensive player of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the team
candidate, by the way, but he won't make it because he's a running back.
Right.
And sycophants, blah, 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 blah.
And the team that'll have the first pick in the 2023 NFL draft will be.
So the correct answer is the loser of the game featuring the Falcons and the Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
And just to throw some love at my guy, Danny Thompson, I believe that Marcus Mariota will fail to overcome giving Pete Carroll one of his few wins early in the season. I have the Falcons at the top of the heap drafting next year.
And that's how we'll end the student game report. Kyle, plug away, brother.
Hey, listen, that Falcons pick is a good one. And the fact I picked out that game, it should impact your bottom five, whoever loses that game, Ernest Christian.
I have the Texans for the record, but Falcons number 2. So
Texans are too low right now. You're not giving them enough credit because Davis Mills has done a lot. He's definitely an example of turning chicken bleep into chicken salad.
The best thing about this podcast is weekly, and we'll do
turning chicken shit into chicken salad.
There we go. The best part about this podcast is this weekly show, and we'll be able to debate this week to week. It's the best part.
Generate. Anyways, of course, I'm Kyle Nash, student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, as EJ Christian is concierge very well below in his streaming feed there. Wonder where he got that trick from. And then, of course, you okay over there, EJ?
I'm good. I'm just a little something phlegm. Go ahead.
Gotcha. So on Twitter at the SOTG, on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me also on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings for the UCF Knights, who will be hosting the Louisville Cardinals, a true testament to the mobile quarterback and what it is in this age of the game. By the way, I'll be covering that, doing a lot of video and other stuff with the Black and Gold Banneret. Of course, my weekly contribution to the 3-point conversion starting this week, the Matchup Mania, the MUM, as I like to call it, or the MUM,
I love it. I'm so glad it's back, dude.
Mum's the word, EJ.
Make sure you drop that shit in my earnestly speaking community too, so we can read that too.
Oh yeah, you mean just like I did my AFC South preview that I just dropped for the
just like that, yes.
Oh,
me, that's right.
It's called teamwork, bitches.
Let's go.
No, actually, wait. This is your show. I can quote Tenacious D, and my name is Kyle. That's fucking teamwork. So, see, you're a rock band guy. You know what I'm talking about. Play that bass.
You already know how I feel, brother. Come on.
And of course, check out my work as well with Demosthenes Euclid.
What's going on with that?
You're alert. He's getting married soon. Anyways,
has that wife been gone for all this long?
That's a long conversation, Ernest Christian, not appropriate for this air. Anyways,
okay.
Check out Hilarity by Default, like you see on the mask behind me, the YouTube channel for Required View, and of course, check out my work with A7BN Sports, the Captain and Company Morning Show, Captain Chris Hill, on oldschool101.com.
Kyle, it's gonna be back, brother.
Hey,
it's a great year.
Listen, this. I can tell you haven't done your top teams, your power rankings yet. I haven't had a thing.
No, I already did. I recorded my power rankings with Michael a while ago.
I haven't seen them. Stop being so selfish. It's all about.
I'm gonna plug it. Do you want to wait to see tonight? Or you want to wait till?
No, I'll let you skate 1 week. I like
no. I'm asking you. It's 32 teams. I'm saying.
Well, we're going to talk about it. I mean, we could do. It's your show, man. I don't know why.
I'm just saying. Do you want to see the rankings now before you so you dissect it?
Do you want the content? That's the question I'm asking you.
It doesn't matter to me, buddy. I mean, I give it to you. I'll text it to you right now.
Yes,
I have the phone right here.
The sign of a great host. It doesn't matter to me.
No, I'm just saying, like it's gonna go up at some point. But like we could do the reveal and Huddle Up tonight too, especially. Because this show's not going up until like Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So,
I mean, listen, I'll put it this way. I like the 1 week. Give him some suspense for the tongue lashing that normally is for next week. So, and by the way, shouts to Ms. Christian. Happy birthday.
Yes, my queen. So, great job, Kyle. I'll see you tonight on Huddle Up.
Hey, honor, joy, and privilege. Thanks for having me on board. And oh, by the way, don't forget Student of the Game podcast drops.
That's right.
Nice prediction.
But we didn't promote that. You're back at podcasting again. You have your own show again every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wednesday at 9 is when the stream drops, but you could also find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's
finally
around. Dude, RSS feeds are more complicated than they should be. I'll leave it at that.
I'm having an issue with this show was supposed to be on its own feed. But I have an issue with this. I just throw it back on our speaking podcast feed, so whatever.
Your ability to handle IT troubleshooting is not relevant here. What is relevant is me locking in predictions for the 2022 season on this coming episode. So whatever you may hear now may change. I already pointed out how Trubisky's making me shake a little bit. I may change my mind while I'm talking to Mike Drokulich about the Steelers. And you know that could determine their fate. I could change completely there based on that, to be honest. But get the final lock-ins there. Get the first week of predictions in for NFL games, and of course, some talk on the expanded playoff. We have the Orlando Sentinels, Justin Beatty on, and my friend, fellow Black and Gold Banneret participant, by the way, Drew Glukov, talking some Baker versus Browns. It still feels weird to say, and all that other nonsense and good times coming up on this week's edition of the Student of the Game. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, streaming on the Student of the Game Facebook Live and on Twitter, on the Huddle Up podcast YouTube channel, just a number of places.
Yeah.
If you're not there, you better ask somebody. But yeah, EJ, I'm gone on long enough, man. Until next time, brother. Class dismissed.
Go Heat, bitch.